It started with a song that transformed a small valley city into an international icon. So what is the Chattanooga Choo Choo? A song? A train? A station? Or is it a legend woven into the fabric of our country's rich history? Well, climb aboard as we trace the tracks of the Chattanooga Choo Choo.
When you hear the whistle blowing 8 to the bar, then you know that Tennessee is not very far.
Shovel all the coal in, gotta keep it rolling.
Ooh, Chattanooga, there you are.
Trains, massive, powerful, romantic. They revolutionized transportation in the 19th century in this country, moving people and goods at relatively great speed. After the Civil War ended in 1865, railways transformed the city of Chattanooga, Tennessee into a gateway to the South. But it was something much less tangible than steel or steam that would catapult this city into international renown.
This sounds a little stuffy, I guess, but I really thought that term choo-choo was a little undignified. But nevertheless, it sort of stuck.
Defining the Chattanooga Choo Choo often depends on who you ask.
It means Glenn Miller mostly. He was the one that played it most of the time. It was a beautiful song.
It never was a train per se. There was never a train that ran from Baltimore to Chattanooga on the trail that Glenn Miller's band plays and sings about.
Because it said dinner in the diner, and nothing could be finer, and then wake up in the morning or read a magazine, then wake up in the morning in Carolina, and that train never went through Carolina.
It's a song, it's a hotel, it's a train station. It's so many things that almost has a bit of a mystique to it.
Some say the term Chattanooga Choo Choo was coined 60 years before the song.
It was the nickname of a train that went between Cincinnati and Chattanooga beginning in 1880.
The nickname of Cincinnati Southern Railway's first passenger train, to be exact. The wood-burning steam locomotive rolled into town in March of 1880, creating the first major link between the South and the Midwest.
The day it debuted up in Cincinnati, a group of, well, I guess you could say commuters, were getting off a train nearby, and one of them walked up to a reporter. There was a lot of reporters there. There was this brand new train debuting out of Cincinnati. He said, "Excuse me, sir, what train is this?" That reporter obviously didn't have his coffee that morning and sarcastically replied back, "Why, that's the Chattanooga Choo Choo, of course." And the name kind of stuck. So the nickname of a train existed, but there was never an officially named train, Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Name or no name, the train was significant.
The rail line between Cincinnati and Chattanooga was the first rail line built post the Civil War to be completed between the North and the South. So that right there started the true healing process as far as commerce between the North and the South.
Two train depots serviced passengers in and out of Chattanooga's downtown, Union Station and Central Station.
Because of the geography of the place, it was a place where you have a funnel point coming together that connects the Middle West and Middle Tennessee and Kentucky and Illinois and Indiana. It connects those places by rail to the Deep South. So Chattanooga is, again, a very strategic place in the railroads in the late 19th and early 20th century because it is kind of that chokehold geographically.
Chokehold was right. No other city in the Southeast relied as heavily on rails for its economy and transportation as did Chattanooga.
Most of the capital that builds Chattanooga after the Civil War is northern capital, and those connections to those upper Midwest or those Midwestern or Great Western that they called it at the time, Great Western cities was very, very important.
By the end of the 19th century, the city of Chattanooga witnessed major growth.
You had the railroad shops, you had the blacksmiths, you had the people who were working to support the railroads, and you have textiles. It was an exciting time to be in Chattanooga. The population had grown to somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000, 25,000, up from 2,100 at the time of the Civil War.
More people meant more rail travel. More rail travel meant more trains passing through Chattanooga. And so began the next defining phase of the legendary Chattanooga Choo Choo.
There's something serene about it. When you're riding on the trainway, you're looking out and you see some of the pretty lands and everything. Anything real dirty going on out there, you think good about everything. It's a good feeling, really.
Of course, outside the quiet confines of the passenger car, people out here didn't always look as kindly on railroads. There was the smoke and the noise and the filth and the congestion they caused in cities. And those were all about to get worse.
Market Street was the busiest road during that time period. So anytime that a train came, and you're talking about 40 to 60 trains a day just before Terminal Station was finished, it'd block Market Street. It would be almost like blocking a major interstate for a long period of time.
In 1905, Southern Railway announced it would invest $4 million in the Chattanooga area. A large portion of the money would go towards constructing new tracks to help ease congestion in and around the city.
Southern Railways was the dominant railroad in the Southeast at the time. Through the 1880s, they'd been buying up smaller railroads across the region and putting them into one large system.
Union Station was already overtaxed and overused. Central Station had been permanently condemned. Southern Railway appeared on the scene as a visionary with plans to build a new terminal. But residents were not all on board with the idea.
Ordinary people are beginning to really resent the railroads in the late 19th century. They're resenting their power, they're resenting their rights to eminent domain, they're resenting the government's efforts to help move those kinds of interests forward.
But business owners had plenty of reasons to want a passenger train in their backyard.
The idea of bringing more commerce into the city was very popular.
In May of 1906, Southern Railway chose its final plans for Chattanooga's new terminal, a dramatic departure from most train stations.
It almost looks like something you'd see. It should look like something you'd see in a mid-sized French city in the early 20th century, because it draws on that French type of architecture.
The design for Chattanooga's new terminal station was unique for its time. Don Barber was the young architect. He had been a student at the Beaux-Arts Institute of Paris, and his design was for a student competition.